hello, and welcome to Magical Witchy World TV. I am Star Ravenhawk.
And I am Rhonda Allen. Welcome and happy to have you all back with us again tonight.
Yeah, and tonight we are proud to welcome Amy Blackthorn to the Magical Witchy World TV. Hi, Amy. It's so nice to
Hey,
have you here
Hi,
with us
Amy.
tonight.
I'm so
Yay!
glad you're here.
We're looking forward to this
Welcome, welcome, and
conversation with
welcome.
you. Yeah. All righty. So let's be have Rhonda introduce you.
Yes, so welcome and thank you again for joining us tonight, Amy.
I'm so tickled.
So, to introduce you to all of our viewers here, I want to go first through your bio. Amy Blackthorn is the award winning author of the bestsellers Blackthorn's Botanical Magic, Sacred Smoke, Blackthorn's Botanical Brews, Blackthorn's Protection Magic, and Blackthorn's Botanical Wellness. She has been described as an arcane horticulturalist for her lifelong work with magical plants and teaching. She incorporates her experiences in British traditional witchcraft with her horticultural studies. She has a certification in aromatherapy and is ordained through the Order of the Golden Griffin. Amy's company, Blackthorn's Botanicals, creates tea based on magical associations. I have some. She has appeared on HuffPo Live, Netflix's Top 10 Secrets and Mysteries in an episode about supernatural abilities and the AP Newswire. Amy lives in Delaware, and you can view Amy's tea shop at blackthornsbotanicals.com.
All right.
So again,
Welcome,
welcome,
Amy.
welcome.
Thank you so much for having
We're
me. I'm
so
so tickled
glad
to be
to
here.
have you here tonight.
I love these spaces.
Okay. So we wanted to ask you some amazing questions because we know you'd have some great answers for us. So, kind of beginning with over the years, you may have referred to yourself to many different names as the time went by, because I'm sure it's been a while. And if you have had any of those changes happen and what you end up calling yourself now, we'd love to hear that.
Fantastic. It's funny. I started this journey, it feels like forever ago. Um, I can remember being just the tiniest little person running through the yard and playing with plants and herbs that I found in the garden, starting with, I grew up in Baltimore City. Um, those of you who are from the area, it's just Baltimore and Gardenville, just this little tiny area. And my elementary school, there was just a blacktop. There was no plants. There was no anything. Our yard had the one tree on our street, and there was just had the littlest patch of mint next to the back door. The day my mother explained, yeah, that stuff, the ice cream that you like, that's where it gets its flavor from. And I'm like, but that's the ground. You said don't eat stuff from the ground. Like this is not making sense here. When we finally moved to the county, we moved to Baltimore County between second and third grade, and we actually had like a tree and a yard and grass and stuff. And I found my first real flowers. We were growing azaleas in the side yard, and so I'm fascinated. I'm sitting in front of this bush, like it's most kids in front of the television, and I'm looking at the flower and the petals and the leaves and the pieces that come together. And I brush up against this flower, and it falls. And I'm thinking, oh crap, I'm going to get in trouble. I broke it. And I
Oh
look
no.
inside the cup that this beautiful magenta fuchsia flower fell out of, and there's a little black seed that's starting to mature. And it's like the universe downloaded the secrets of the mysteries into my brain, and I'm going, flowers make seeds. I'm in the third grade, mind you. Like this
That's
is a
so
big deal.
cool.
This is like a major headline that flowers make seeds. Everybody
Yes,
else
it
knew.
is.
I had no idea. So I was obsessed. That I was obsessed. I had to know all the things. I had to go to the places. I'm doing chores for my neighbors to get pocket change so I can go and buy a 6-pack of petunias from the grocery store. And I'm
Oh,
pedaling home from the grocery store with a 5-pound bag of soil and a window box. on the front of my bicycle over the handlebars,
I love
so I
it.
can grow these flowers. I can be part of this secret club that nobody knows about. It wasn't until I was 11, my sister came home with a copy of Wicca Guide for Solitary Practitioner by Scott Cunningham. Uh,
Mm.
Her and her best friend Christine were smuggling in her book bag, all giggles and frantic laugh. And I'm like, okay, something awesome is happening here, and I'm missing out on it. I've got to figure out what's happening. Anyone who has a younger sibling knows the fastest way to get them involved in your business is to tell them to go away. This
Right.
is really her fault. So I sneak into her book bag at the middle of the night. It's, there's a Pink Panther caper happening. I sneak into her book bag and I find this amazing book. I sneak back to my bed and I'm reading it by the light of the gas station down the street. And I find all of this stuff that I had thought for so long, for my wise old 11 years, was written in a book that I had no idea about. This wasn't the stuff that they taught us in church. This wasn't the stuff that everybody seemed to be so entranced by. And I always felt left out because I didn't feel it. I was playing the good kid card and playing along, but I never felt that thing that they all seemed to fall down over. In some cases, literally, the whole hand waving, oh, and they fall down for some
Yeah.
reason. This is what I've been looking for my whole life. Was Scott Cunningham laying it all out in 1992.
That is, yeah. That's a great origin story, if you will, to your life. To your life as, and this is kind of what Star was going towards. Whether you call yourself a witch or whether you call yourself something else in particular, right now, but how you came into this world. I'm going to use that. How you came into this world was part of what I was curious to know about. So it really was instigated or led on or influenced by what your sister was
Yeah.
doing,
Absolutely.
and
I
it's really
started out as
interesting.
as a witch,
Yeah.
and I came around to right around the time I was 18. I found my first coven, and I used the strictly used the moniker Wiccan because by the time I had gotten
Mhm.
to high school, I lived I had moved to a couple times with my parents, and it was a very rural county, and there was a lot of prejudice, there was a lot of racism, there was a lot of scary people. So I
Mm.
switched to strictly calling myself a Wiccan because it didn't have the inflammatory feeling of the word witch. Um, I had
Right.
I had death threats in high school. Like it was scary
Wow.
business, and so the the moniker of Wiccan felt safer because at least it gave people a minute to pause and say, "So what does that mean?" Rather than
Yeah.
the gut feeling, gut reaction of a witch. And when I left my first coven, it just felt natural to go back to witch and to reclaim that word for myself and for anybody who came after me.
Right.
Yeah. Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
I do want to mention that we have some people in the chat and somebody that I know Debbie Chapnick, who says hello. And just wanted to say hi, calling her out. So, yeah, thank you for sharing that
Yeah, that was
portion.
beautiful.
And that is, yeah.
Okay, so the next question is from your point of view, what does it mean to be a witch? Or, yeah, what does it mean to be a witch for you? So it doesn't have to be anyone else's point of view, just yours.
Working in concert with the elements and the plants that are around us to create not just our own world, but taking the energies of these plants, these elements, the gods that we're working with, and creating lasting relationships.
Mhm.
Sometimes they may be able to do things for us, and that's great, but it's about the relationships that we're building, the friendships that we make. It's not just, I have a bottle of essential oil and I create magic. Yes, that's possible, that's true, but the guiding force behind those magical associations that I talk about is the spirit of that plant. If I'm
Mhm.
had a long day and I need to relax and need a little bit of anti-inflammatory action, I might make a mug of peppermint tea, and I compost my
Mhm.
my leaves and I enjoy my tea. But once that tea is gone, where is peppermint? Peppermint, the spirit of peppermint endures. So I'm building relationships with
Well
those
said.
spirits. Those craft, building those relationships with the spirits.
That is fabulous, and that takes me to a question also. And it's something that's been a theme of the last several months in conversations, which is the relationship individual practitioners have to their magic and to their teachers. I'm going to use that language, and taking or reclaiming or finding, perhaps for the first time within themselves, that sense of sovereignty, and they are the magical practitioner. So it's not just what they're learning; it's also what they're learning and developing, as you're saying, building those relationships with the spirit of the plant or the spirit that of the energy that you're working with. So now I want to take to another part of that conversation and ask you, how is magic now imbued or infused, or how does it move throughout your day-to-day life, or how is it a part of your world or life right now?
It's so important to have that daily practice because, we go to festivals and we go to concerts and we go to events, and at the end, everyone is so sad. They're just crushed
Mhm.
that they have to go back to their mundane lives. And I'm like, this is, no, you get one life, my love. You get one. You have to bring it into
Yeah.
as many pieces and parts of your life as you can. Otherwise, you're living from full moon to full moon, and that's just
Yeah.
not okay. Like, you need to be able to live your life every day. So I get up and I'll make my
Yes.
morning tea, and we talk about making coffee or making tea in the morning. Your morning ritual should be a ritual
Yes.
to take a look
Yeah.
at what you have throughout your day. Okay, I've got to write 12 pages by dinner time. Let's go. Let's get this done. I might craft a tea that has a little bit more caffeine in it, or I might grab something that has a little bit of a fiery action. I might grab some cinnamon.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
about looking inward, not just where we are and where we got to get, but how can I support this vessel to getting to the next place where I need to be. And so that magical practice is part of that. If I had to wait from full moon to
Yes.
full moon like that would a sad life that is.
That is so well said. That is so well said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me just make certain botanicals. I'm just going to I saw
Yeah.
something here
Yeah.
I want to fix.
Botanicals is, yeah.
Um, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to fix that. In the meantime, we wanted to just go on to another topic here, which was, and you laid something out here that
Yeah.
I'm going to say, for anybody who watches our show and who goes back and sees, you know, you're bringing up something that I've heard from so many other magical practitioners, and that is, it becomes a part of that daily
Yeah.
practice. It is part of your morning ritual. It's not, and it was so refreshing to hear you say it's not living from full moon to full
Yeah.
moon. It is in your day-to-day life. That is
Yeah.
empowering.
It is.
And
It
I
is.
am grateful to hear you say that, and that, and
Absolutely.
hopefully that message gets
Yeah.
out there to a lot of other
Yeah,
ears.
because
Yeah.
they have to realize this is not a fad. This is their lifestyle. Just like how, no matter what you say, the Christians and the Catholics, they very much live their faith.
Yes.
We have to
Mhm.
also live ours in with that same thing, imbuing everything into our lifestyle with it, if that's what we want to be, and that's what we want to stay
Yeah.
as. So that was really well said. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I wanted to find out if you can tell us a little bit about what's important to you right now. I mean, honestly speaking, what you just said before was so brilliant. But let's see, what else we can bring out about what's important to you.
It's so neat being able to draw in a lot of different experiences and a lot of different times and places. Right now, my experience is a lot of, I look at the essential oils from plants as sort of the soul of the plant. If I can connect with the spirit of that plant, that's great. But having a little tiny bottle that connects me directly with the spirit of that plant is fantastic. It gives me just a little bit of extra connection. And so working with the essential oils as a method of connecting with that plant spirit that's a really great way to not just connect, but bridge all the gaps. So working with
Mm,
essential oils right now is getting a big piece of my magical time, because there's so
Mm.
much that I can do with know a specific plant. I've been writing about cypress for the last 3 days, and it's funny.
oh,
I messaged Mortalis because cypress is all about grief, and they write about death, and they're a death worker, and it's so
yeah.
beautiful to see how such a long history of use in a plant has so much to do with the idea of grief and supporting those in grief. Um, Cypress was used to make coffins in ancient Egypt.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so
Mm,
we have the history of people working with this plant and the dead for thousands of years.
Wow, yeah.
It's just beautiful to get to understand that even though we experience specific plants in a really narrow way because of our life's experiences, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. This has been used for thousands
Yeah,
of
yeah,
yeah.
years. It's so
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. And that's so even that message right there is another thing that's really it enriches the practitioner to know that, yeah, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's
I was
history
just
and
gonna
there's
say that.
lineage
Yeah,
and
there's history to
there's
it. Yeah.
power behind it.
It's
It's like
almost like
That
it's
is
like being
fabulous.
that essential oil archaeologist and finding out what the history of it and where it came from and all of that. It's brilliant. Yeah.
Hmm.
it's almost like when
Yeah.
you're a kid and you realize that your parents had entire lives before you were born, and you're like, I got to get to know this person, who they were before they were my parent. Like that's
Yes. And it is an epiphany, right?
yes.
When you're a kid to say, "Oh, wait, the world didn't just start with
My
me. What do
mom's
you
name
No.
mean
isn't
you were here
mom.
before?"
What?
My mom had to have
Exactly.
sex to have
What is
me. Oh
that?
my gosh.
What is that? Exactly. So
Grandma.
so, yeah, what is going on? So,
Okay.
taking it down to this is another topic of conversation because we're coming out of that, couple of years of isolation and very siloed existences, and now community is really resurging for ourselves and our desire to be in community. Tell us about how community um what it represents, or how you feel about your relationship with community right now, and what type of work you may be doing within the pagan community writ large.
The community is, I feel like it's an ocean. When I started,
Mm,
because I started so young, the internet was in its infancy, and people were really starting to
mhm.
come together. And so the big deal at the time was, online covens for teenagers, because we weren't allowed to join covens for adults. You had to be 18. And so
Yes.
creating these magical communities for young people was such an important part of that task, to come together and build that community, that the minute I turned 18, I ran out and I joined the first coven I could find. Never do that. Don't do that. Wait around a bit.
Just saying.
Um, but it's funny because the minute the pandemic happened, we had the resurgence of, hey, should we create online covens? Should that be a thing? And they had the understanding and the sort of the nurturance of Zoom, allowing us to have magical spaces that were just our own, and we didn't have to worry about being stumbled upon, say, in a Facebook group where the wrong settings could expose your witchcraft to your great grandma or your mom's
Right,
brother.
right.
Right.
So
Right.
these ebbs and flows in connection and community, being either online or on in the real world, it's got that ebb and that flow, and we're at the high tide right now of so many people coming out of isolation to really desperately want that connection with those in person. So I went from
Hmm.
doing, the last 3 years have been inside at home because I'm immunocompromised. Now it's so
Yeah.
amazing to be able to get out and do more conferences. I'm doing one big appearance a month. And so the next one I'll be at uh, Free Spirit Gathering in Maryland. And so I'm looking forward to going outside and meeting other people and getting to really experience that feeling again of getting a hug and getting a high five, and sitting around
Yeah.
the bonfire at night and just talking to a complete stranger about the life, the universe, and everything. You can't have that experience by
Absolutely.
accident online. And so I'm
Mm.
thrilled that I get to really do that again. It's something I had been missing, and I didn't realize just exactly how times. I started writing Blackthorn's Botanical Magic
Mhm.
in in
Yes.
2016,
Yes.
and I
Wow.
went into my little cave and I just holler at the walls here in my office, and I forget how big that connection can be in your heart and in your soul and your solar plexus, how big that feels
Mhm.
because I just
Right.
spend all my
Yeah.
time in my office yelling at the walls.
That
That
is
is so true.
so important. Yeah.
Because we went when we
Yeah.
just got back from PSG and Pig and Spirit Gathering with Selena Fox and stuff, and that was nice getting out there. Um, haven't been out in so long, so it was really nice to do. But I have to admit that
Mm.
I'm not huggy and stuff anymore like how I used to be. I'm not that person. I am very much like, this is my space. Let's just keep it
High five, high five.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
from far. We'll
Yeah.
high five from far and all the virtual
Yeah.
things because I'm not willing to
That's
do that.
it.
I'm not that person anymore. That huggy person that I was
Yeah.
always so
Yeah.
much. I'm just,
Things have
funny, funny,
changed.
funny, funny. But, anyways, so the next question I wanted to ask you was, what would you like to see us as witches accomplish, that we have not as yet? I mean, there's a lot of things that you're seeing, whether you were indoors or outdoors, but what would you like to see us accomplish?
It would be amazing if we could get to the point where we stop finding ourselves explaining who we are by what we don't do by well, we're not those people, what we're kind of over here. I would love for us to get to the point where we can just be practitioners without having to argue over definitions every 5 minutes and
Yeah.
this versus that. Let people experience their lives, go on explaining who we are, but every news article that comes out, especially around Halloween, they spend 3/4 of the article saying this is what witches are and this is what witches do, and then, oh, this person happens to be a witch. If we could just get to the point where we could agree on some definitions and some materials moving forward, we could get to the heart of that connection where you learn about someone as a person rather than getting
Yes.
the 10-minute diatribe of, well, I don't do this and I don't do this and I don't do this. Well, tell me, who are you? Tell me who you are as a
Yes.
person, as a practitioner, as a witch, rather than defining who you are by who you aren't.
But I think that's what it is. You hit the nail on the head. You said they do it mostly at Halloween. So this is their witch time, the time when they go for the witches and everything. So they just grab quick things to say. And by the way, you might be living next door to a witch and don't know it, kind of a thing.
Mm.
It's a quick sensational thing, or our 15 minutes of fame for a
Mhm.
second,
Yeah.
so that they can just sensationalize us for a bit, which is
I
kind of
went
sad.
to I went to the Buckland Museum of Witchcraft in Cleveland, Ohio last month or a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
And it beautiful, lovely. If you get a chance to go out there, absolutely do it.
Yeah.
But there's big blown up um, billboard size news articles about the Bucklands. Obviously, it's the Buckland Museum, but it still has that same sensationalism. Like, you might be living next door to a witch and you don't even know it. And we
Of
haven't
course.
come any farther
Yes.
in 50 years than these sensational articles that
Yeah,
just want to make us feel like the weirdos and the bad kids.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, actually, you kind of hit the nail on the head with why we even created this show. It was meant to show people that we're all regular, everyday people who, yes, we are witches and all the different things, but look at all the things we want to do for the community and we want to see and
Yeah.
accomplish. And you just even mentioned we don't want to be sensationalized. We just want to be regular, everyday people who, just like you're a Christian or a Catholic, we're witches. It's simple.
Mhm.
It's nothing, sensationalized or treating us like freak shows. You get tired of that. That fishbowl
Exactly.
Yes.
thing of where they're looking at us in a
Yes.
fishbowl and they, oh, look at the little fishies. Oh, look at the little witches.
Yes.
It's demeaning.
Yes.
It's
That's
demeaning at
yeah,
all
that's a way to
times.
put
Yeah.
it.
And like you said, we have not come very far with it. And this whole idea of this channel is to bring forward that and show we're many different
Yeah.
people of many facets,
Visibility.
many names, many beliefs, and
and
the
look many
thoughts that we
different
have.
ways.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. So, with you mentioned already that you have one major event a month coming up. So, you have Free Spirit Gathering coming up. What other events? Tell us about what other things you have or projects even you have coming up or things you're thinking about doing.
Well, so the first week in August is Free Spirit Gathering in Maryland. Then in September, I'm going to Temple Fest in New Hampshire. And then in
Yes.
October, I'm going back to Ohio because they have a dark market that's the whole weekend. It's the second weekend in October, the 15th and 16th, the Saturday and Sunday, in a converted electric factory. I'm really excited to see this venue.
Oh my
So
goodness.
Nice.
I'll be there.
Sounds
It's
amazing.
sponsored by Witch Lab, which is super exciting. Tiffany is a doll. I would buy her a pony if she had somewhere to put it. Um,
Love
um,
it. Love it.
and then in November, I'm going to the Pagan Pride Day for Las Vegas. So November is
Excellent.
I get to
Excellent.
go. It's been a few years since I've been to Vegas, and I'm really excited about it. I was the personal bodyguard to the CFO of a $30 million company. So the last time I was in Vegas
Wow.
was a much different experience.
You were a
Yeah,
bodyguard
I
at
was
that
gonna
time.
say.
I
What?
don't have to watch anybody's back but
Exactly.
mine.
That is fabulous. That is fabulous.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So
anyone can find that info on your website, I'm assuming.
yes,
Yes,
Or at
and
well, I
least
wanted to kind of ask
amyblackthorn.com.
you. I wanted to kind of ask you about the projects that you're doing, like because I know you mentioned a couple of things off behind the scenes. So, what are some of
Yes.
the projects you're working on right now?
So right now I'm finishing the sequel to Blackthorn's botanical magic called Blackthorn's Book of Sacred Plant Magic. And
Oh,
I'm
okay.
really excited. It's building those connections between the spirit of the plant and our experiences as embodied people.
Mm,
So it'll have the botanical encyclopedia section that Blackthorn's Botanical Magic had, but instead of laying the groundwork for each section, the groundwork has already been laid. I'm going to talk about creating those connections between the actual spirit, the overarching spirit of that plant, and our connection with ourselves. I'm
beautiful.
writing. I have a really fun book that I've been working on with my partner Natalie Zaman, who wrote Magical Destinations of the
Yeah.
Northeast, and she's one of my New Jersey people. And I
Yes.
just
Love
love Natalie's
Natalie.
whole face.
Yes.
And we're working on 365 social media spells for Union Square Publishing. I'm thrilled. We're gonna sign the contract any minute, and
That is fabulous.
Yeah.
and
I'm excited.
the next Wiser project after that will be due in 2024 is a book on shadow work.
Yes.
Very nice. Very
Yes.
nice.
That is awesome. Excellent. Tons of good stuff. And as I'm excited to see a lot of these things coming out. I just, I fangirl a bit, so that's just me.
I love your whole
Um,
face.
it's just what we do. But anyway, we have your information scrolling across the screen, and I apologize for interrupting you earlier. We were saying that people who can find your upcoming projects, events, etc., at this particular website, blackthornsbotanicals.com. Misspelling has been corrected. Or should they look to any other place?
AmyBlackthorn.com also has my author specific materials, things like where I'm
Excellent.
going on tour, and you can find the first 30 pages of each of my book free to download. I want you to know that that my voice is the voice you want in your head when you're talking about this material. So it's free to download. Check it out. Love it. I hope that you consider buying it, but money is so
And that's
tight
Amy Black.
everywhere. I want
Yeah.
to make sure that everyone has the materials that they need. So you can find autographed copies of books and teas and all sorts of beautiful things at blackthornsbotanicals.com. But the actual free downloads are on amyblackthorn.com. I want you to know that I'm here for you.
Sounds great. Thank
Perfect.
you so much, Amy. It's been
Thank
such a
you.
pleasure having you here.
Thank you so very
Yeah.
much. We really appreciate it. And thank you for taking the
Time.
time. We are going to now say, hold on 1 second, because we're going to share a little bit about an upcoming event. Thank you again, Amy, and we hope to
Yay.
see you soon.
Thank you.
That was amazing.
Thanks.
All right, it's astrology time. Okay, so
Yes,
we'll
here we
begin.
are.
I know, right? We're going to begin with the Venus retrograde in Leo. So, July 22nd to September 3rd, 2023. Leo, relationships about to get super real because Venus retrograde begins on July 22nd, and its 6 week long backspin will lead to a major review of matters of love, values, wealth, and even self confidence, all the way through to September 3rd, like I said. The Venus goes retrograde at 28 degrees Leo on July 22nd and stays retrograde for 40 days or 6 weeks and goes direct again on September 4th at 12 degrees Leo. Leo, that sign associated with creativity, self expression, and flair. As we all know, a sign that's, well, a little extra. That's
Yep.
okay. That's what
I
they
love me
are. They are
a
good. That's what
Leo,
they're meant
so
to
I
be.
love my Leo.
Show their flair. So, the retrograde takes place in the passionate sign of Leo and starts on the same day as Leo season begins. So, don't be surprised. The drama factor here gets turned up to 11, not 10, 11. Okay? So, with the love planet moving backward, it's time to revisit past relationships, maybe relationship baggage, rethink romance, and review what or who is truly worthy of your fabulousness. Just avoid making any drastic changes to your appearance or splurging on luxury purchases, as Venus rules beauty and money, and your taste for the next 40 days is subject to changing. So don't be alarmed if your usual channels of inspiration and vitality feel clogged around this time. Retrogrades signals a turning towards notions of moving forward. Venus goes retrograde very rarely, so when it does go retrograde, it influences us much more strongly than a regular Mercury retrograde. So Venus goes retrograde in the same sign every 8 years, activating a similar area of and bringing similar themes to our attention. Last time Venus was retrograde in Leo was in July, September 2015. So I want you guys to think real hard about what was going on in your life back then, September
Right.
2015. All right, Rhonda.
Excellent. So this Venus retrograde will be conjunct the black moon Lilith, calling us to embody our feminine, powerful essence. Lilith conjunct Venus in Leo is a no compromise energy. If something no longer makes you happy, Venus and Lilith will team up and help you do what needs to be done to reignite a spark in your heart and restore your passion and take back control of your life. Venus is the sign of relationships, and Leo is a particularly passionate living from the heart Venus placement. So, Venus retrograde in Leo invites us to listen to our heart. Do we feel joyful and alive? Are we happy in our relationships? It could be harder to access your sovereignty or signature shine during this time. Something to keep in mind. The relationships or art forms that used to bring sparkle to your life may feel underwhelming. This could be temporary or it could hasten your evolution as a creator, performer, and lover. On the other side of this journey, the people and projects that amplify your shine will be obvious. You'll inch closer to what it means for you to love and create in a way that honors the deepest and most honest parts of you.
All right. And a bit of, for your information or FYI, Venus turns retrograde every 18 months. And of all the planets, it spends the least time in retrograde. So Venus retrograde periods can be challenging when it comes to money, love, and relationships, especially if you have friendships or partnerships. Past life as well, it does affect too, and that need
Mm,
healing and closure. So there's a lot of issues that's going to be going on right now with relationships, especially friendships. So called the word friendships. That's a word you got to watch out for.
Mm-hmm.
Some may be just acquaintances, but calling themselves friendships. Okay, so just watch out for all of that. And during Venus retrograde, past romances may sneak up back into the present, and whatever relationship you presently have may be questioned and redefined. So you got to look out for that. In the sign of
Mm-hmm.
Leo, Venus retrograde is about reclaiming passion, romance, and everything that lights you up. Is your heart in it? Do you
Yeah.
love it? Do you feel more alive after you do it? Whatever that is that you're doing. Okay. Leo lives and loves big. It's ruled by the sun, the center of our solar system. So start taking up your space if you haven't made enough room for yourself. It's so easy to play small, and it does not want you to play small. This is Leo we're talking about. Go big.
Mm.
This might sound weird, but it just means expressing yourself fully. So don't adjust yourself to fit someone else's image of who they think you should be. It's also a great time to reconnect with your creativity and desire. Just be careful not to go overboard because Leo can spend the bank down. Make sure any investment is worth the return.
The
Okay.
return. Yes. Excellent point. Excellent point. So we're also dealing with Chiron retrograde. So the Chiron retrograde begins as well. In case Venus retrograde wasn't already setting your heartstrings haywire, Chiron retrograde 2023 kicks off less than 12 hours later. So this minor planet kicks off its yearly backspin on July 23rd in the self-starting fire sign Aries, when it'll moonwalk through late December. So from July 23rd through late December, we'll be dealing with our Chiron retrograde. Chiron is sometimes known as the wounded healer in astrology, and its 5 month long retrograde period can help to clean up old wounds and process painful memories from the past. So, work through whatever comes up with the goal of coming out stronger and more independent.
All right. That's a great thoughts. So
Mhm.
getting clarity with Mercury in Virgo as well. The month wraps up with yet another sign switching from Mercury, which enters down to Earth Virgo on July 28th. Virgo
Mm.
is one of the Mercury's home base signs. So this transit is especially helpful for thinking practically, expressing yourself with detail, clarity, and generally getting your brain organized. Use this clear minded energy to make headway on your to do list or tackle logistical projects. It's very much still Leo season. With both Mercury and Mars in Virgo, we're getting a little sneak preview of what's to come when Virgo season begins next month. So keep all of that in mind, all
Yay.
right? All
Yes,
right.
right on. So, we are about to dive into tarot time.
Yay. All right. So tonight, the card that we're pulling is to reveal some more about not just the Venus retrograde, but the many different retrogrades, the Chiron, and everything else that's coming up this month. And how is it going to affect you?
Excellent.
Okay. Or anything that's going on in the outside world. So let's pull that card and
Okay.
see what we've got going on.
Oh, well,
What you got?
while while you're shuffling tonight, I'm working with one of my old faves. This is De Los Tarot. De Los Tarot is a Rider Waite influence deck, and the card I pulled tonight is Temperance,
All right.
otherwise known as the Magical Alchemist. And here we are talking about retrogrades and going back and forth, and you can see those water goblets and the water going back and forth, and it is talking about diving into and Chiron retrograde and that wounded healer and pulling things out and dealing with past hurts and trying to heal and solve that, dealing with retrogrades and revisiting, and the energy here of the water going back and forth from the subconscious to the consciousness and back and forth and digging deep inside and pulling it to the top. But it's called the magical alchemist because why? We're going through major transmutation with this energy. And that is what we're trying to deal with when we're going through all of these retrogrades and especially dealing with that Chiron retro. We're trying to deal with going from one condition or one state of being to another state of being. And temperance is a card that speaks to exactly that.
All right.
So that was pretty
Yeah,
straightforward for me.
yeah. Okay, and I'm working again with my usual Witches Tarot. I love this deck by Ellen Dugan. I love her. I will always love her deck. And I
Yes.
have worked with this card with this deck for years, and I have never pulled this card. I've never. It's like I've never seen it before in the deck, and it's the Six of Cups. And if you
Ooh.
look at this, it's the water and everything you mentioned. As you were going through the whole ebb and flow and the transmutation and the different things, there were so many things that were so much alike to temperance that you just used, and the water and everything that's there. The difference with
Yeah.
this one is all the kinds of things that it kind of told you to beware of and to work with through the Leo season and then to prepare for the Virgo season beginning next. It's
Hmm.
like it's giving you how the ways to guide you through it so that you'll be able to flow well at all times. And at the same time, if you look at this card, it has like a small pumping well of where it's kind of saying it's got six cups and the water is all around us. There's like a river in the back of it and coming down on the side by the two kids. But it's basically
Hmm.
saying, I'm keeping these six cups full for you at all times, no matter what. These are going to be continually flowing properly for you. Just keep doing what I'm asking you to guide you with. The river is guiding you, everything is guiding you. If you do it and you follow these words and this way that it's going, your cups are going to constantly be filled no matter what. It's not going to run dry. It's like
Beautiful.
if it was, I don't know even how to describe it, like this never ending cycle of
Yes.
flow and in the ebb and the flow and everything else, and the cups being filled for what they need, um from the very young to the very old, and it's being there for
Yes.
us. And I think it speaks of such hope. It speaks of such guidance and universal guidance and hope that is offering
Yeah.
if we learn to accept the different things that are being guiding us along the way. So
Yes.
it, to me, all of every time we pull these cards, it's like you can't make this up.
I
It
mean,
just pulls
that
and
is
it
a
is what it is,
beautiful
and
energy.
it is guiding us each time, and it's with one card, and it
Yes.
speaks so much. So we're very grateful for that.
Yes, indeed. And I'm really excited to see the energy of so much of that flow and the
Yeah,
water and
yeah,
and that growth. Yeah, it's digging deep. Water in Tarot is definitely going deep within. So
yes,
that's part of what we're doing at the all these retro. We're going backwards and revisiting and checking it out and going deep within to figure out how can I fix this? How do I work
yeah,
with this?
yeah.
Well, yay.
Yay!
So now we want to announce our next week's guest.
Yay!
Here we are.
I can't wait to have her here. I miss her so much.
Our goddess
I miss
Rhonda
her
will
so
be
much.
back. Yeah,
I miss her
so
so much. I
excited.
can't wait to see her again. Okay,
Absolutely.
so thank you guys so much, and don't forget to check out our Pagan Ninja playlist and our Pagan music list playlist on our YouTube channel. We have some new shows: Curious Herbalism with Kenya Koviak, And our other shows that we've had. Please do check them out on YouTube. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I
Share.
don't want to miss that part. Don't forget to like,
No,
subscribe, and share. And what
exactly.
else? We wanted to thank everyone for being with us tonight, and Amy Blackthorn, our special guest. So beautiful.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you so much, Amy. We want to just remind everyone that while we are pivoting from this year's Witches Fest, things are in the works for
Oh, yes, yes,
2024.
yes, yes.
Big things are in the works. But we also have, and you saw that commercial launched earlier tonight, the new market coming,
Yes,
which is Knights Fair. You'll find the link to that in our on our YouTube channel and on our and all of our socials so you can apply. That starts on Monday.
yes,
We have very limited applications and spots available. So grab the link, apply. It is a curated market. So grab the link, apply so you can get checked out. And if you can't make it for this market starting on Monday, which will be a daily market running for 4 weeks, 4 weeks. So you'll select your dates. If you can't make it in for this one, we will definitely hold on to your info and waitlist you for the next one.
yes. And
All
just so you
righty.
guys know, that market is on Broadway between Astor Place and East 4th Street in Manhattan. So it's right between the East and West Village. Amazing location on the ground
Yes.
floor, front store. So you got to make it to that market. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Find the links. All righty. Have a great night,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Again, please do like, subscribe, and share.
Yay.